He didn't like it at all. He did re-enlist only because his parents needed the re-enlistment money, which I think at that time was $8,000. Knowing we were going to Korea, our captain had us practice night and day to get to our battle stations, and he wanted it done within 30 seconds. That's pretty fast. But doing it night and day, we got it down pretty well. Over the PA system, you would hear the familiar clang, 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 clang. And Dale Gray would say, "This is a drill. This is a drill. All hands man your battle stations." And everyone throughout the whole ship would gather at their specific locations. On August the 10th, 1952, we were in a Korean war zone for the first time. Dale's announcement was a little different this time. I could tell it in his voice. The clang, clang, clang was there, but his voice said, "This is not a drill. This is not a drill. All hands, man your battle stations." Before we got there, we could hear the enemy shooting at us. And our 5-inch 38 guns were blasting back. The noise was deafening. All of a sudden, we heard one shell hit our ship. It was around the forward fire room. The lieutenant said, "Palm, go find out what the damage is. Report back to me." I said, "Sir, they're still shooting at us." So, well, the captain wants to know immediately. So I ran out, looked up at the forward smokestack. Sure enough, there was a hole in the stack about 6 foot in diameter. So I went back and reported it to the lieutenant. I no sooner got in the door to give him that message, and he said, "Palm, someone's been injured. Go out there and help with the wounded." I didn't want to go back out there, but I did. And I saw this sailor laying on the deck in a puddle of blood. I looked at him. It was Dale Gray, my good buddy. I had to help carry Dale to sick bay. Here I am thinking, here's my best friend. Now he's dead. He didn't want to be here. I didn't want to be here. As a policeman for 35 years, I've been asked many times, have you ever been afraid for your safety in your life? I always answered it the same. Yes. August the 10th, 1952, I was scared to death. Sometimes God hugs me so tight that he messes up my words and brings tears to my eyes. I'm sorry. Exactly 5 weeks later, on September the 16th, 1952, part of my job was to check on the fresh water supply for the crew. The storage tanks were in the forward fire room of the ship. I went into the forward fire room to check out the water tanks. The 5 men on duty there were very somber. They were normally joking and teasing, but not today. Everyone was thinking of Gray. I didn't stay too long. This deal was on my mind as well. I thought the best thing maybe I could do is go to the movie, which is in the mess hall. So I made my way to the mess hall. It was very crowded. I just barely got my foot inside the door. No sooner did I do that, and there was a very loud explosion. The ship vibrated violently. All the lights went out. Someone yelled, "Torpedo!" I was the first one out. I made it to the main deck. I looked over the starboard side. There was a huge hole in the side of the ship. 2 18-wheel trucks could have gone side by side into that hole. The blast almost cut the ship in half. And just minutes before, I was in the forward fire room. I could have been one of them. The ship lay dead in the water for almost 3 days. 2 destroyers stood by us and escorted us to Sasebo, Japan. Sasebo, Japan, they put us in dry dock. We got into dry dock. My damage control party and I had to go back into the forward fire room, and now we had to recover body parts. Korea might be the forgotten war, but these heroes will never be forgotten. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Dad. It was wonderful. It's now my second privilege of the day to again introduce to the Denver community my oldest brother, Anthony R. Palm Jr., for an absolute special presentation.
Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce, representing the United States Navy, Master Chief Mitch Murphy, and the next generation of Palm sailors, Midshipman Sean Forsyth. Several years ago, I sent away to the National Record Center, and I got a hold of my father's service record. I was interested in finding out, just how badly he did compared to me. He didn't do too badly. And I came across a citation for his actions immediately after the ship hit a mine on that September morning in 1952. He kind of breezed past that little piece of history, and the record that was in there was just a carbon copy, wrinkled and gray. And when I asked my dad about it, he said, yeah, I remember seeing it, but we never, because of the war and because of other pressing, more important duties, it was never presented to me. So, machinist mate, fireman, Anthony R. Palm, front and center. Members of the military, please stand at attention for the reading of the citation. Commanding Officer USS Barton, DD 722, takes pleasure in commending Anthony R. Palm, Fireman, United States Navy, for services set forth in the following citation. For heroic service